Hey everybody, welcome back to Grain Free Homestead. I'm Stephanie,
I'm Derek.
and today we're just doing some garden cleanup, getting ready for putting the garden to bed, I guess, for the fall, for the winter. So I know we're going to be ripping out the tomatoes and what's left of the beans. What else are we doing?
We going to clear out those pumpkins. We're going to get all those situated. Uh, we are probably going to start tearing out some of the okra. So anything that's dying, anything that its season is done, we're clearing all that stuff out. We're not going to be composting this stuff because there's a lot of diseases, a lot of like spores and funguses that are in. Especially you can see behind us, the tomatoes. That one's a big no-no to compost because it's just full of blight, and that stuff will get into your soil. So you want to get rid of all that. You do not want to compost it. It's kind of like you're tempting to compost the stuff, but don't do it. We are going to be burning all of the leaves, anything the chickens don't eat is going into the burn pile. We're just gonna clean everything up here, and you're gonna see us it's just gonna look a whole lot better. We're gonna get rid of a lot of these weeds that have kind of overgrown, and some of these vines that have just taken off. So, all right, here we go.
Okay, so we're clearing out the tomatoes and beans today and some other things in the garden. And we wanted to sit down with you guys and just kind of go over just some thoughts that we had while we were doing this. When you're first gardening, and there's a lot of new gardeners out there, it's fun planting plants and seeds and watching everything grow, and everything is beautiful and fruitful. But towards the end, when everything starts dying off, and there just is basic cleanup that has to be done, and nobody really shows that part. Nobody really tells you it's hard work. It's hot out here. There's some stinky vegetables and stuff that have rotted, and you have to deal with that. And you're dealing with bugs and just dirt and all kinds of stuff, and nobody ever talks about that part. We'll spend 2 or 3 days, at the end of a garden season, cleaning up the garden and getting it ready. And what people don't realize is if you just leave that there, that you're leaving those pests and funguses and diseases in the ground, and that affects your fruit for next year. So it is something that you need to do. A lot of people just kind of let it lay there and deal with it the next year, but then you start, having crop failures and
Yeah, and a lot of times people will they'll do their first garden and it'll do really well, and then the next year they'll be like, I don't know what happened, and it's because they didn't clean up their garden probably good enough, or they composted a lot of their garden debris that they should have either thrown out or burned, and it gets you plant your garden and you get the harvest, you get the reward of all the hard work you did, and then you kind of just forget and don't really care. I mean it happens to us too, and there's been years when I'm just like, I don't even care, let the stuff get frosted on, let it all just die out there, and I'll mess with it next spring. And you got to clear out all that junk, or else it's going to winter over. You're going to have bugs that you didn't have, and you're going to have just stuff staying in your garden, and you're going to deal with it next year. So the best thing to do is, before you get really cold temperatures, is to go through, cut everything back, chop everything out, get your last really good harvest, and clean out the garden.
also, you don't have to do it all in one day. Like, we're taking the tomatoes and the beans and maybe some like watermelon, things like that, we're clearing out today. But our okra is still growing. Our sweet potatoes, they're getting close, but it's not time yet. So we have butternut squash still going. We have lots of peppers We did have to cover them. It got close to a frost, but for the next 2 weeks, our lows are going to be in the 50s. So, we're going to let our peppers keep growing. We have tons of peppers on there. So not everything's getting cleared out all at once. You can do that, but we're just taking it in stages. We know the tomatoes need to be out. We know the beans need to be out, things like that. So you can't, you still have stuff in your garden, and you don't have to do it all in one day. You can do it, in increments as the season progresses.
See this here? This is dead tomato leaves that were killed mainly by the blight, and that's got spores and stuff on it. So that's what you want to get out of your garden. So get rid of it, get it in the garbage, get it in a fire pit, just out of it. Don't put it in your compost.
Okay guys, so that was all of our day, cleaning everything up, getting the fabric cleaned up, and we had to pick a little bit left of our harvest for these things here that we cleaned out today. There's a whole bucket of green tomatoes, some good ripe tomatoes, some white pumpkins that our dog planted, what's left of the watermelon, a few peppers, and I think some butternut squash.
A few raspberries there too.
Oh yeah, there's some raspberries there in that little bucket. So thanks for joining us today, coming along while we clean things up. It gives you a good glance at, this is probably just a third of the work that we have of cleaning everything out. We'll have a good couple more days of this once the rest of our plants die out, and it gets time to harvest all that stuff too.
All right guys, hope that gave you all some ideas, showed you all how we do it. Maybe it'll help you all next year and make sure that you clean out, prepare for next year, and get rid of all your leftover plants that are done. And y'all have a great one. God bless you all. We'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good week.